This is LMURailsPlayers.com. I'm Scott Erlin here with head men's basketball coach Josh Schertz. Coach, catching up with you again for our weekly report here. Let's just talk about last night. Kind of a strange game in terms of you hosted the Tuscan Pioneers multiple times, led wire to wire multiple times. It ended up feeling like we were really going to pull away, and it took a while for that to happen. Pioneers 1-13, and now after last night, 78-61 win. But it took you a while to really, kind of establish that footing and pull away. Just talk about that game.
Well, I thought, I didn't think we played particularly well, but I think you got to probably credit Tusculum with a chunk of that. I thought they were very engaged. I thought they played with great energy. I told Mike and his team after, they've really inspirational in terms of all the stuff they've kind of been through away from the court, all the adversity away from basketball, and some of the incredibly difficult losses they've had on the court, and to be as tight-knit, as bound together, have as much energy as they have, and the bench is invested, and you can tell they're just really a together group. So first, credit to them. And then I think from our end, particularly in the first half, we shot the ball awfully all game. From three, I think we were 3 for 14. From the free throw line, we were 5 for 14. And I think in the first half, that really bled into our defense. We had some defensive lapses, some defensive breakdowns. Execution offensively wasn't great. So there were things where I think missing shots kind of bled into some lack of focus things from our standpoint. Second half, we didn't shoot it any better. But I thought from a defensive activity standpoint, from a defensive execution standpoint, we performed at a higher level, and that allowed us to kind of push it open. I think it was 47-42 with about 11 minutes to go, and then from there, I think we were able to kind of put our put together a good streak of stops, rebounds, got us out in transition, and we were able to get some easy baskets, and so that kind of gave us some separation. But a lot of things to work on, a lot of things coming back from that game where we got to get better. On the same token, we did enough good things to win. We had to do some good things to earn the win, but certainly I think with our guys, a lot of growth in terms of areas to improve moving forward.
A guy we haven't really gotten to talk to a lot, he is Keenan Peterson. He's not a flashy guy. He's not one of those guys that puts up huge numbers. Last night he gets a double-double, 10 points, 12 rebounds. But talking to your assistant coach, Omar Watad, he just talked about he loved the way, and I assume this is just kind of a thought within the locker room in general, was that he loves the way he's been playing, just the effort he's been given defensively, and I think that shines through. You see Chase Mounts, who's probably a first team or second. He's an all-conference level guy, certainly. He gets 18 points last night, but he takes some 18 shots, and just talk about maybe the impact that Keenan had on that end of the floor.
He's really a guy that KP gets stuck on the guys that are, almost every team in the league has an elite, post, or somebody that's really good, or a lot of the teams do. And you look at it, he had to go toe-to-toe with Chris Ross, who I think is really good, all-league level post. Had to go toe-to-toe with Chase Mounts, who, arguably is the best post player in the league. And then, on Saturday, he's got to go with Sean Morgan from Queens, who I think is another guy that's a definite, first, second team all-league guy. So he winds up, with the toughest defensive assignments. When KP's out there, it generally allows us, which is an advantage, to play those guys one-on-one. When our game plan going into that game was when KP was out and they had Mounts in the game, we were going to double and blitz the post because we didn't feel like Kurt or Paul or Emmanuel were big enough, strong enough. So KP allows us to play the post one-on-one, which obviously gets us out of rotation. Anytime you're doubling, it's out of respect for somebody, and so. But what it does do is create 4-on-3 away from the basketball. When you're at a disadvantage, you got to scramble and put you in rotation. So defensively, he allows us to play one-on-one and stay more solid on the defensive side of the ball. He's really developed into a guy who I think anchors our defense. His pick and roll coverage has improved immensely. For a guy at 6'10", 250, moves his feet pretty well. And he's a guy that is really, I think, one of the better rebounders in the league. He's probably underrated for what he does. And I agree with Omar in the sense that KP in his career, probably the word I would use to describe him coming into his senior year would be erratic. You know, he is a guy that would get great numbers. He's a guy that would have horrible games. His highs were very high. His lows were very low. There was very little consistency to his game. And I think as a senior, I think the maturity we're seeing from him is that he's now able to go out and string games together. Even on a night where he's not shooting the ball great, he's able to and understand to impact the game through his individual defense, his ability to anchor our defense, protect the rim, pick and roll coverage, things like that. And then on the offensive side, I think he's a guy that has gotten more efficient. You know, you can throw it to him and you expect good things to happen. I think he's fourth on our team in scoring right now, and he's a guy that's just really invaluable to us on both ends of the floor because of, you know, all the stuff we just mentioned.
Well, now let's turn our attention to this weekend. Big matchup. You're completing the series with Queens. You played Queens one of the early season matchups, the second, I believe it was our second conference game, November 22nd, and it was kind of a much more one-sided affair than we probably would have anticipated, 66-51. But Queens is a much different team now. It seems like they had won 8 straight. They lose a tough one at home against Wingate last night. But two of the better players in the conference, Rob Lewis and Sean Morgan, just talk about the task you've got ahead of you at Queens.
Well, I think I'll say this, the score on the 22nd, wasn't indicative of the game. It was a much closer game than what it wound up being, I guess 15, I didn't even remember, but I knew, it was a 4 or 5 point game inside the final 5 minutes, and I think we made a couple plays down the stretch and were able to extend the lead and got some stops, but you knew going into that game, we discussed that game, I think, in a preview leading into that game on a Saturday. We knew that, once Queens gelled, they'd be one of the better teams in the league and in the region. They have tremendous talent, depth. They've got size. They can do a lot of different things. They're very sound defensively. They're very well coached. They run good stuff. They put their personnel in position to excel doing what they do. They have good balance inside with Sean Morgan, outside with Rob Lewis. They've got Marquise Rankin, who's a transfer from Virginia Tech, who's one of the better, point guards in the league, and he gets them going. Jadarian Jackson's playing well, and so, they've got some good freshmen, Todd Withers, Jacarl Owens, just a lot of pieces with that team that really blend and give them a chance to have a great year. I thought we played them down there once they kind of came together. They'd be an NCAA tournament caliber team. I think coming in here on Saturday, that's what we're playing. We're playing a team that I think will be certainly in the conversation for a league championship and for a bid of the NCAA tournament. So I know our guys have tremendous respect for their program, their talent, how well coached they are, and so we'll expect and need as good an effort as we can muster to have a chance to have success on Saturday, because we're certainly not going to have a massive any advantage from a talent standpoint or from a coaching standpoint. They're extremely talented, extremely well coached. It's going to just be which team is able to execute better over the 40 minutes, and our guys are going to have to come in with a great mentality and certainly be better than we were on Wednesday.
Well, and you look at that, an interesting kind of conversation for that game is that two of the better teams in terms of field goal efficiency in the country were in the last statistic rankings. We were ninth, which I don't think it was really affected by last night. Shooting 50% last night, and Queens came into the last night's game ranked 20th in the nation in field goal percentage efficiency. So, but if you look back to that November 22nd matchup, we held them to just 32% shooting. They just go 1 for 15 from 3. So just kind of maybe look, if you can wind it back. I know you have that photographic memory. I'm sure you can wind back and remember. What do you think we did defensively to affect them? So a team that is a really good shooting team.
I think, philosophically we always have kind of the same, deal. We tweak it every game based on personnel, and it's small tweaks, but we, have certain, non-negotiables that we try to do. I thought we did a really good job in the first game of not giving them easy baskets. We very rarely gave them anything easy in transition. They're fast and athletic. I thought we did a good job for the most part of not giving them, of taking them off the 3-point line, taking their shooters off the 3-point line. Some of those 15 were just shots they missed. Obviously when you go 1 for 15, it's not all good defense. Some of that's just missing open shots, which happened, last night for Tusculum as well. But I thought we took them up the 3-point line. I thought we were solid in transition. I thought our ball screen defense was pretty good. We're going to have to look at it and see, from the first time, things we can do better, things maybe that were effective, areas that we can improve because they're playing better, obviously. And so, but going in, they've got Rob Lewis is a guy that's kind of a microwave guy. He can get 30, has gotten 30 multiple times this year. Sean Morgan inside is one of the most efficient bigs in the country. I think he was 4th in the nation in field goal percentage. He shoots like 74%, which is just ridiculous on the interior. Rankin is a guy that really gets a lot of stuff for his guys. He lives in the lane. He can make the 3 as well, but he's a guy that can get in the lane and draw crowds and make plays. And then Jackson's playing better. Jadarian Jackson's playing better. Hendricks is kind of a guy that's a role guy, but he's a guy that's one of the better defensive guys in the league. So a lot of pieces. Withers, like I said, Owens. Just a lot of good players, and so we're going to have to look at things we did well, things we did poorly, and then try to figure out from a game plan standpoint what gives us, we think, the best chance to have success on Saturday. But I think those things are always, key for us. No easy baskets. Take teams off the 3-point line, and obviously try not to foul. And if you do those things, you give yourself a chance. Now, how you get to that, is different every game because every opponent, what Newberry does is totally different than what Queens does, is different than what Tusculum does. So you have to just figure it out on a game-to-game basis, and that's what we'll try to do, is figure out the best attack to try to guard them. But we're going to have our hands full because, like you said, I think we're 1-2 in the league in field goal offense and field goal defense, and so they're very sound and execute very well on both sides of the ball.
All right, Coach. Well, I know that I've had this game marked on the calendar for a while, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Catch up with you soon.
That sounds great. Scott, appreciate it. See you every Saturday.